All right, let's get into it. Today, we're looking at an artist who, depending on who you ask, is living two completely different lives. On one hand, he's a musician telling these really powerful stories about struggle and hard work, but on the other hand, well, some people see him as something much, much darker. So today, we're going to try and unpack the two conflicting worlds of El Makabelico. And we're starting right out of the gate with a bombshell. Just look at this quote. El Makabelico is a terrorist. I mean, that is not a vague accusation, right? It's a direct quote from one of our sources, and it really sets up the whole mystery we're diving into. How on earth does a musician end up with a label like that?
Okay, so an accusation that serious, where does it even come from? To really get a handle on it, we've got to look at the denouncement itself. This is the first of the two very different portraits we're going to look at today, the artist as a criminal. And the claims are, well, they're pretty severe. He's labeled a terrorist, a criminal. He's even allegedly involved with the Cartel Del Noreste. And it goes further. The source says his lyrics, his message, his whole vibe, none of it is condoned. You know, this isn't just someone saying they don't like his music. This is a complete and total condemnation. This just raises a massive question, doesn't it? When you're faced with an accusation that heavy, how do you see yourself? How does the artist himself tell his own story? To get that side of things, we have to turn to his own work, his own words. And we're going to do exactly that by digging into one of his songs, El Pompillo V1. See, this isn't a condemnation from the outside. This is a story that he built, that he's telling. So let's see just how different this picture looks.
So the hero of this song is a guy named El Pompillo, and the story paints him as this young man from Ciudad Juárez, a place known for being pretty tough, who comes to the US for one simple reason, to find work.
And that one goal, just to work, is really the beating heart of this song. I mean, the lyrics are just packed with details about labor, about ambition, and about the sense of responsibility that's pushing him forward. It's a story you might have heard before, a classic immigrant narrative.
The song makes his motivation absolutely crystal clear. The lyric goes, Desde chavalo me vi la necesidad, me vine para este lado para empezar a trabajar. Which basically means, since I was a kid, I saw the need, so I came over to this side to start working. So right away, it's not about thrills or crime, it's about pure, simple economic need. Something he says he's known his whole life.
And right here, the song really spells out the financial pull. The lyric is super direct. What I earned in a week over there, they duplicate for me here in American money. You can just imagine how powerful that is. That's a life-changing amount of money. The kind of difference that makes all the hardship of leaving home feel worth it.
And the song paints this really vivid picture of his work ethic. I mean, it says his day starts when the rooster crows. He works so hard his hands get calloused. He believes you only get luxuries through la chinga, you know, the daily grind, the hard hustle. And this is a really key point. The song makes sure to say he does decent work. The song also shows us he's kind of a man of two worlds. He's super proud of his Mexican accent and his roots back in Juarez, where life is tough. But he also acknowledges how he might look to people, wearing brand-name clothes, maybe his eyes are red. He knows he might look like a malandro, you know, a thug. But the song insists that deep down, he's still humble.
But, underneath that tough-looking exterior, the song really drills down on one core value, responsibility. There's this key line that says, Desde pequeño me inculcaron que debo ser responsable, which means, since I was little, they taught me that I must be responsible. It's presented as like the absolute foundation of who he is.
So who is he so responsible for? His family. The lyrics say he gives 100% for them. Por ellas doy el cien. Talking about his mother and his sisters. He's sending them money. The whole reason he's going through all this struggle, it's all framed as an act of pure devotion to them.
All right, let's just pull back for a second and look at what we've got. We have two completely different portraits of the same person, painted with totally different brushes. On one side, you've got this damning accusation, and on the other, this really sympathetic story.
And when you put them side by side like this, it's just wild. The denouncement paints him as a terrorist, a criminal, tied to a cartel. But the song? The song gives us this hardworking immigrant, a responsible son who's humble and just trying to take care of his family back in Juarez. I mean, the contrast could not be more stark.
So what we're left with are two stories that just don't seem to fit together at all. One source is telling us a story about a criminal. The other is giving us this classic, heartfelt story of an immigrant trying to make it for his family.
And this really brings us to the core of the dilemma, right? It's a question that goes way beyond just this one artist. It's something you see a lot in this kind of music. It's really about how we're supposed to interpret art when it gets this close to the world of crime.
So, I'm just going to leave you with this question to think about. When an artist presents one identity through their art, but the world slaps a completely different, much darker label on them, which story do you believe? Which one is true? Or, and this is the really tricky part, is it possible they're both true somehow? That's the whole puzzle, the duality of El Makabelico.